This morning I was talking to God and He put this really good story on my heart. And I was talking to Him about perspectives and certain things that have been happening in my life. And He put this story on my heart that was, what if you were out at a restaurant and you were with a friend and they pointed to a little girl that was sitting across from you, and they explained how this little girl had nothing to eat and she hasn't eaten in 2 days, and her parents couldn't afford anything. And now, say if that little girl walked over and she took something off of your plate, you would probably have grace for her and love for her and understanding because of what your friend just told you. And you'd probably offer her more knowing her situation and her story. But now let's look at that from a different perspective. If that little girl walked over and you had no idea of her background, didn't know what she was going through, and it was just some random little girl that walked over and took food off your plate, you'd probably be sitting there and grumbling to yourself and thinking, like, that little girl has no respect. She's never been shown respect. Her parents are disrespectful for allowing her to do that. And you'd probably have a completely different perspective because you didn't know what she was going through. But what if we looked at every situation in our life this exact same way? And when somebody says something mean to us, when somebody does something that just isn't very nice, what if we came to that situation with that same understanding, whether we know their background or not, or know the storms they're going through? What if we showed up to that table with that same amount of grace and that same amount of love that we would have in that situation with that little girl, where we knew that she was hungry? And we know that hurt people, and there's always a reason why people lash out the way that they do, why they say the things that they do, or why they act the certain way. God knows all of our stories. He knows all of our past. He knows everything that we're going through in our current situation. And even though we don't know everything that everybody's going through, He still wants us to show up to people's lives with the same grace and the same love that He gives us.